Yes, sir, it's visible.
Even the cursor is moving. You can see the cursor moving.
Yes, sir.
The slides are also changing.
Yeah, cursor movement is visible, sir. Slide movement is also visible. Yeah, slides are changing.
Thank you. So today's session for about 1.5 hours, we'll be talking about reinforcement learning. So what is this reinforcement learning? It is a kind of machine learning where we interact with the environment, we learn from our mistakes and try to solve a particular problem. It is different from a supervised learning where we already know the class label associated with the data. That means we know what should be the answer corresponding to the data. But in the reinforcement learning, we do not have any such information. We interact, we learn by interacting with the environment. If we have made a mistake, we will be penalized for that. If we are moving in the correct direction, then we would be getting a reward. Here, simply the objective function could be to maximize the reward. This is the only way to get an idea that we are working in the correct direction or not. So it's an interaction-based machine learning approach. What are the key features of reinforcement learning? As I told you, there is no supervisor, nobody to guide you whether you are moving in the correct direction or not. Only you have to decide based upon a particular objective function. We'll talk about these objective functions in the subsequent slides. It is simply a hit and trial approach. You're interacting with the environment. If you are moving in the wrong direction, you will have a penalty over it. Otherwise, you will gain certain rewards. So these rewards and penalty are guiding you that whether you are moving in the correct direction or not. You're having a search phase, which is the environment. You need to explore and exploit that search.
Participants, keep your mic in mute. All the participants, please keep your mic in mute. Yes, sir, you continue. You continue, sir.
Sorry. For the reinforcement learning problem, who is trying to solve a particular problem. He is working in an environment like the example adjacent to it, you can see agent in this case is a mouse. The environment is this labyrinth where mouse as well as that cheese is placed. So the agent is on a particular state, some location, maybe in some room. Now the agent has to take a particular action. So there are three defined set of actions that you will be deciding for a problem. So while you are taking an action, you are either making some change into the environment or there won't be any change, depending upon the action that you have to take. So we say whenever you are in a given state, you take a particular action, you are in another state. How would I come to know whether this action is correct or not? So you are getting some reward from the environment, an idea from the environment that this action was correct or not. So as you can see, you are on the state F0, which is the starting state. On the state, you are having several sets of actions. Actually, you have selected the action A0. So while you have selected the action A0, the environment has given you the reward R0. This reward could be either positive or negative. Negative means it's a penalty. Positive means it's a reward. So taking this reward, you will be on a particular state, let's say F1. Again on the stage, you will take another action. You will take another reward. The goal is that you should maximize the total reward along the path that you have selected. Like in the case of this mouse and cheese, the objective function must be that rat must be able to reach to the location of cheese as soon as possible.
तो सुबह 1 बजे से
Shit.
So
Sir,
moving to the, yes.
Sir Navjot sir, I think there is some problem at your end. Sorry for the disturbance actually, but I think there is some fan on or something which is creating a small distortion in the speech, sir.
Okay. Change the microphone now. Now is it better?
You are on the microphone?
Now I'm on the microphone.
But there is some disturbance, sir, actually. But you just speaks little bit louder. I think then it will be okay.
Surely.
Okay, sir, then continue.
Now, the biggest application of reinforcement learning is games. Like I've shown you on the slide, the Atari games or the arcade games that we all might have played during our childhood. The machine learning that is involved during the games is reinforcement learning. Like in this case, if you see, the objective would be that you need to score as much high as you want. The actions could be, you can steer left, right, up and down, depending upon the game. In this case, reward could be like if you are hitting the bricks, you are getting a positive value. There may be the concept of life, which is a kind of penalty. If you lose that ball, then you will be penalized for it. And many more such applications based upon those games. So the other applications apart from games could be the movement of a robot. It could be simulation modeling. It has lots of applications in driverless cars. Traffic only one, that means there is a parking slot and the car has to place itself on the parking slot. This is one such application for a driverless car. There are many more in it. If I talk about the reinforcement learning tools, so these are few of the tools which are available online. They are open source. To name a few, Utaro, OpenAI, Keras. So you can work on these tools. Now, let's start with the classical reinforcement learning. How can I model this problem and how to solve this problem? So we have designed the environment that you can see. It consists of 9 grids, 12 grids. It's a 4x3 environment. And there is a start state which has been marked. An agent can take 4 possible actions. You can move up, down, left or right. And the problem will be solved once you reach to the goal state. Like in this case, there are 2 goal states which have been marked, one with +1, the other with -1. Both of them are goal states. If the agent reaches to one of them, the problem terminates. So each goal is having a particular weight, like one goal is having a weight +1, the other one is having a weight -1. So if we reach in -1, definitely it's a kind of a negative state. So I should avoid this state. maybe this could be the dead end for that state, and our objective would be to reach to +1. Now, in this case, the environment given to us is fully observable. That means the agent knows the location where it is. He knows the coordinate where it stands. He should not sense it from the environment. Like to mark the thing, in this case, the starting state is 1, 1. There are two goal states, 4, 2 and 4, 3. Now, if the environment is deterministic, we can have two solutions to the problem. Like as we said, there are two states. One is a positive goal state, one is a negative goal state. In this case, everybody would like to land up to the positive goal state. If the environment is deterministic, you can see these are the two solutions. Like movement would be up, right, right. Or the second movement would be right, up, right. These could be two solutions. Now, in real world, the environment is not always deterministic. What if it is stochastic now? For every movement, there is a probability associated with it. So let's assume we talk about a desired action on a given state. If I'm on a given state, this should be the correct action. This should be the desired action. So the example that has been shown over here is that your desired action is moving up. So in the stochastic environment, let's assume there's a probability of 0.8 associated when you are taking the desired action. Like in this case, if you are moving up. And the probability is 0.1 if you are moving left or right to the desired action. Like if I'm moving up with respect to the up direction, these are the two left directions which have been marked with the probability 0.1. And if I'm moving opposite to the desired, the probability is 0. Now make sure that this slide is very clear, because rest of the slides are basically focused upon the scenario which has been made. If you have any doubt, you can raise your question right here only. Where the probability of taking the desired action is 0.8. It is not moving up, is 0.8. Yeah. I should be very clear on this thing. Where the
so this is Nilesh here. I have a question. So where this probability values are coming?
This is through a learning model you have decided it. Let's assume we have already learned that model and we have decided these are the set of probabilities.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So here I'll again repeat, probability of moving up is not 0.8. In this case, the desired action which was there, which we have selected, was up. Now with respect to this direction, if the direction which you have chosen is also up, then the probability is 0.8. If you are moving towards left or right of it, then it is 0.1 each. I could have also moved in the opposite direction to the desired one. In this case, probability is 0. Okay. Keeping this scenario in mind, let's assume the desired sequence of action should be up, up, right, right, right. Let's say this is desired sequence. This is what I wish for. And let's assume these were the two paths that we actually executed. Path number 1 and path number 2. These are the only two paths by which I can reach from start state to +1 state. Now, let's see these paths one at a time. If I pick path number 1, the first desired action should be up. What is the desired action? What is the actual action I have taken? It is up. If both of them are matching, so the probability is 0.8. That means I have chosen the desired action. Next action, desired action was up. What action you have chosen? Again, it is same, 0.8. Then it is right. Your desired action is right. What is the action you have selected? It is right. So its probability is 0.8. If you see, all the remaining actions match with the desired action, so all of the probabilities are 0.8. Okay. Now let's understand the other part. If you pick the other part, on the start state, what is the desired action I should select? It is up. What you have selected? Right. Now, with respect to the desired action, what is the action you have selected? Like, what was desired was moving up. Assume that you are standing at this point, looking in this direction, up direction, which is the desired direction. What is this action you have taken? I think if you stand at this point, looking at that red arrow, you have taken the right to the desired. Is it clear? Since I have taken right to the desired, what was the probability associated with it? It was 0.1. Okay. So in this case, presently I do not know for this state what was the desired action. For time being, I assume it was not desired. So for this also we have selected it as 0.1. For this state, it is 0.1. For this state, it is 0.1. And finally, if you check the state, the last one, the desired action was moving right. Yes, actually we are moving in the right direction. So its probability is 0.8 because it was matching with the desired action. So I hope the idea is clear with respect to the previous slide. What do we mean by desired? What do we mean by left and right to be desired? Anyone of you can respond whether it is clear or not so that I can move ahead.
Sir, one question is Nilesh.
Yes.
So, how desired path is going to be decided whether it's a desired path or not?
The
What
question
all
you
the
are
factors
asking
it
is
will
the
decide?
actual solution to this problem. We started with the problem that none of the actions were marked. The objective is moving from start state to the goal state. For that, I require for each state what are the correct set of action I should take. Means these arrows which are marked. What you are asking will be actually the solution to this reinforcement learning problem. We come to that solution quickly. Okay. Now this is what if we already have the solution. This was one such solution which was marked, and now you are checking as per this test case what is the correct answer, what is the overall probability. Okay.
Okay.
We'll talk about these desired actions a little later, how they came up. This here.
Yes, sir.
So, now, a classical reinforcement learning problem is modeled in the form of a Markov diffusion problem. If you can a reinforcement learning problem, it can be composed of the 4 parameters, which are S, A, T, R. S stands for the state, I'll discuss these four parameters with respect to the previous example that we discussed in the next slide. So S shall be the set of states where you'll be having an initial state to start with, like the one marked with star in the previous slide. A is the set of actions which are applicable on a given state. Depending upon your application, you need to decide what are the possible set of actions. And P is the transition model which guides you about what is the probability that if I am on a state S, if I take an action A, I land to another state which is S dash. So what is the probability of it? Now in this case, we would be using Markov assumption, the first order Markov chain, where since I would have reached on S dash by passing through few of the states, maybe I would have started with S0, then S1, then S2, then S dash. So the assumption that we've taken is that if you are reaching from S to S dash, I should only focus on S and the associated action that we have taken, which was A. So I should not worry about what was there previous. How have you reached on S? We are not bothering about the ancestor state. You only focus on the just previous state from where you landed to S dash. Finally, the fourth tuple is the reward function. Again, it could be both positive as well as negative. The concept of a reward as well as penalty. Now, so the problem which involves reinforcement learning should be modeled in terms of these four parameters. Now coming to the solution, like in the previous case, the solution was what are the correct desired set of actions. Here we call the solution as the policy. Now what is this policy? Policy is for every state, tell me what is the action that the agent should take. Policy is nothing but mark down all the arrows on the states that we have seen in the previous slides. And now, if I am in a particular starting state, I know what action I should take. So we'll see how a policy could be generated for a given Markov decision process. We'll take the previous example only in this lecture. So let's come back to this same problem. The first parameter was state. You can see in total there are 12 states. If I tell you like +1 is one of the goal states whose coordinates are 4, 3. So I can be on any one of these states. You can assume that these states are nothing but rooms. Then A is the action that an agent can take. In this case, agent can move up, down, left or right. These are the only possible actions. Then the transition function that we have discussed in the second slide, in the initial slide, where we talked about the concept of desired action and if you are moving left or right to the desired. Let's see with the help of these two examples. The first example says probability of being in state 4, 3 provided that your previous state was 3, 3 and you have selected an up action. And for time being, assume that this is the policy which has been mentioned. That means for every node, for every state, what is the correct action I should take? They have been marked, the arrows have been marked. These are the desired actions. So let's understand the concept of the transition function. It says I should be in state 4, 3. 4, 3 is the state. Okay. I should be on state 4, 3. This is your S dash state. From where you came? You came from 3, 3. You came from this state. This is your S state. And in this case, what is the action you have taken is moving up. This is the action which you have taken. And you are assuming that on the state, if I take an up action, what if I reach to the state 4, 3? What is the probability of it? Now let's understand this thing. In this case, the desired action is moving right. Assume that you are standing on this point that you see. You are looking in the desired direction. You are looking towards the right side. Visualize it. And now see what is the action you have taken with respect to this desired direction. What is it? Left, right, or opposite? What is it? Anyone? Standing on this point, looking in the right direction, and the action which you have taken is up. So what is this up with respect to this right direction? The desired is right, action you have taken is up. If you stand on this point, if you look in this direction, assume that you are standing on this point looking in this direction, what is this direction? I think this is left to the desired, isn't it so? Since this is left to the desired, what was the probability associated with left to the desired? It was 0.1. Okay. Take another example. In the other example, it says, what is the probability that you should be in state 3, 3? So this 3, 3, this 3, 3 is your S dash. We came from 3, 2. So this is 3, 2, which is your S. What is the action you have taken? You have taken an up action. What was desired? Desired was moving up, and we have also taken the up action. Both the actions are matching, so the probability is 0.8. I hope it is clear. Is the idea clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. Now the fourth parameter, which is reward. So you have to decide the reward based upon your application. So let's say in this case, the reward has been decided. For the goal states, they are already marked. Like for state 4, 3, it is +1. For 4, 2, it is -1. And let's assume for remaining states, the reward is -0.04. Means a very low penalty will be applied on every state. So there is a role of this reward. Like if I increase the reward, if I decrease the reward, what is the what will happen to the policy? We'll discuss a little later. So what we have done is there is an agent. Agent is on a particular state. He's having a few of the actions that an agent can take, and there is a reward associated with every state, like it is -0.04 for every non-terminal state. So the transition model is like in this case, the agent could move in the right side, left side, or you can move up. So based upon this transition model, one way could be it gets trapped in the fire, which is a dead state. Obviously, as per the policy, that won't be the desired action. Maybe the desired action was moving up in this case. If you move up, the probability associated with it was 0.8, and the other one was moving right, so its probability is 0.1. Coming to the reward, as you said, the reward could be both positive and negative. It could be associated with just one state, like in the previous example, we have considered per state what is the reward. Now you can assume reward to be associated with state as well as action. Like if I'm on a given state, if I take this action, then this should be the reward. If I'm taking another action, then this should be the reward. So different rewards per action. And sometimes you can associate this with the triplet, like if I'm on a given state, if I take this action, if I reach to the state, then this shall be the difference. So for sake of simplicity, in this lecture, we'll consider reward to be for a particular state. Like what is R of state? Now coming to the environment history. Now, since the objective would be you are on a start state, you should be reaching to the goal state by taking a set of actions. By taking set of actions, I will be moving from one state to the other state. So there will be a utility function, which is the objective function in this case. Utility is nothing but sum of all the rewards that you receive along this path. Like an example has been posed where you want to reach to 4,3. After 10 steps you have reached it. Then what is the total utility, total sum of reward that you have received? I do not know from where you have started, but you finally landed to 4,3, which was a +1 state. So by reaching on 4,3, I will get a reward of +1. But before getting the reward +1, I was on a non-terminal state for 10 times. After the 10th action I have taken, I reached to the +1 state. If you see, for every state, the reward associated was -0.04. So 10 times you have received this reward. And finally, you landed to the +1 state. So the total utility that you received is 0.6. So what is the goal? The goal is to find out the policy. Policy is what? For every state, what is the recommended action? What is the desired action? How to get it? Here it is said, you devise a policy in a way which can maximize the expected utility. We talked about utility. Utility was sum of all the rewards that you have received along the path from a given state, which you call a start state, to the goal state. In this case, the role of the policy is, policy will simply map the state to a given action. For every state, I know what is the correct action, which will be the solution to the Markov decision problem. Now, how should I follow the policy? If I am already having a policy, you will give me a start state. I find out what is inside the policy for that state. There will be an associated action. I'll execute and take that action. I'll be on another state. So I'll keep on repeating this thing until and unless I reach to the goal state. Now the interesting thing, how the value of the reward per state that we have decided initially, how would this affect the policy? Like in this case, this is the policy that will be generated through some algorithm, which we'll be discussing. When reward for every non-terminal state was -0.04, this is a very less penalty. And the reward for the two goal states are +1 and -1. So you will see over here that on this particular state, which has been marked with X, I wish to take a longer path. I would have taken a movement up. So in 3 steps, I'm able to reach to +1. But the algorithm has taken a longer path to reach to +1. The reason is that you have taken a very less reward for all the states, which is minus 0.04, because this thing, this small reward is giving you an idea that even if my total number of steps are very large, the overall effect won't be much. Like in this case, the steps which you have taken are around 7 to 8 steps to reach to +1. If you find out the utility, it won't be, the difference won't be very large. But if I would have taken action which is moving up, I would have landed to this state Y. Now this Y state is very close to the X state. What if in this case, though the desired action is moving up, what if I have taken the right action? There is 0.1 probability, but still there is a possibility. I do not know. What if I have taken the right action and I would have landed in -1? So because of this very small reward per state, it has given me the opportunity that I should wish to look for a longer path, but I should always avoid falling into a dead state. Okay? Is it okay? Is the idea clear? Can you respond?
Clear, sir.
Now, you suggest me what could be the optimal policy. Then I have taken the reward for every non-terminal state to be a very high negative value. Like this is minus 1.6. What do you feel could be the effect? Consider this example only. So instead of this R, which is minus 0.04, the value is minus 1.6. So the value is higher than the negative reward. If you see the negative goal state, it is -1, and we are saying reward for every non-terminal state is a much higher value, a much higher value. What do we understand in terms of the policy now? What should be the correct set of action I should take? Should I continue with the way you see on the screen? Should I look for a longer path? Obviously, if I'm looking for a longer path, my overall utility is increasing in terms of penalty because it is minus 1.6 on every occasion. So what should I look for? A longer path or a shorter path? What do you think?
Shorter path.
Shorter path, definitely shorter path. Because if I am inside a given game, in this case, the objective is finish the game as quickly as possible.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it so? Because on every moment you have to pay something, and a very heavy amount you are paying to be in that game. It means I should quickly finish the problem. Now, the other thing, I can finish the problem by reaching to either +1 state or a -1. So where should I reach? What should I aim for? A shorter path to reach what? +1 or -1?
So, plus.
With +1 we are increasing Q value, with -1 we are decreasing it more. What do you think? What do you think should be that? So shorter path to reach.
So shorter path to reach is positive.
Positive. What if for for a given state, the shorter path would be to reach -1. This path is little smaller than reaching to +1. What do you say? Like in this case, what if this is the x where you are on? I can reach to -1 in 2 steps. I can reach to +1 in 3 steps. Find out the utility and then check. You take -1.6 in 2 steps, finally reaching to this -1 state, or -1.6 in 3 steps and finally reaching in +1 state. Which is a better value? What do you think? I think the above one is better. I think the above value is smaller than the second value. The first policy was to reach to -1. The second policy was to reach to +1. So which is better in this case? In this case, it was better to reach to -1. At least for the state x. It means if the reward is a higher negative, obviously than the dead end, so I should complete the game as soon as possible, and I should land to the nearest goal state. Like in this case, for this x, these were the two solutions: moving up and moving right, or the other solution was moving up, and moving right. Here it is guiding us that I should finish the game as quickly as possible by reaching to the closest goal. Here the life is so painful that the agent should exit as soon as possible. Exiting means reach to the goal state. Whatever be the nearest goal state, you reach over there. So this is the policy that you will be getting for this particular reward. I hope now the picture is clear, like how a reward is changing your policy. How should you decide your reward for a given problem? I hope now you are getting the idea. Moving ahead. Now what if again the reward is little high but not higher than that -1. Yes. In the previous case, penalty was very high. In this case, penalty is little high. Now, what should be your optimal policy? In this case, should I look for a longer path or a shorter path? Or then we should end with +1 state or a -1? What do you think? In this case, reward is again higher, but not very high.
So I think we still choose for the shorter paths then.
Shorter path, fine, okay, because the reward is still very high.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should look for the shorter path. That's okay. I should end with what? A +1 state or a -1? What should be my goal? In this case, should I again quickly finish the game by landing to the nearest exit? Or in this case, it is giving me some opportunity.
So you shouldn't go for the -1 state.
That means I should look for the shorter state and I should look for -1. That means you can take the risk. You take the risk, take the shorter path, but always try for a +1. Okay? Do not go for a -1 state in this case, but you should take the shorter path. Like if you see now, here if you see the state, we have changed the policy for it by saying I should not go for a longer path, because in the longer path my overall reward would be very high in terms of penalty. There is no point reaching to +1. It is quite better that I take a risky path, because in this case, if I'm moving from X to Y, there are chances that from Y I can land to Z state. So I'm willing to take this risk. But look for a shorter path. Okay? Let's move ahead. What about now? So this is equivalent to that minus 0.04 example. Here in this case, reward in terms of penalty is very, very small. It will hardly create any issue. Now, what should be the policy? I should go for a longer path or a shorter path, and where should I reach to, +1 or a -1 state? I think this is very much similar to that minus 0.04 example. What you have visualized from that example?
Yes, sir, it's very similar actually.
Should I take any risk in this case? The risk may be in the shorter path, so should I take that risk? For a given state, let's say there are two paths, a shorter one and a longer one. Looking at this reward which is given over here, obviously if I'm taking a shorter one, which would be a risky path, so should I take this risk? I don't think so. We should take this risk, because the overall penalty which has been issued is very small. Even if I am taking a longer path, the difference is not very large. So in this case, life is pleasant, it is very nice, and the agent should not take any risk. In this case, it is giving us the idea that move away from the -1 state and move towards the +1. You see the arrow? Just move in the opposite direction of the -1 state. Like in this case, it is easily X and Y. So they are actually moving just opposite to these two states. Okay? And I am willing to take a longer path, which is risky. Now the last one. This is a bit interesting. What if the reward of every non-terminal state is a positive value? What do you think?
Sir, so in this case, there is no need to take the shorter path when it is here, and it's not for the +1.
So I should take a longer path and should reach to
+1.
+1. That means in this case, this is similar to the previous example. I guess. There should be some difference, because there is a huge difference in the rewards which are associated. It is positive. Positive could be any positive value. I'm not saying a lower positive or a higher positive. Some positive value. Okay, so let's understand this thing. I'm on a given state. Our objective is to reach to the goal state. If I'm getting a positive reward, what is the action I should take? Overall objective is to increase the reward, increase the utility. Utility is sum of reward. So if on every state I'm getting some money, would I actually wish to finish the game?
We don't
If
need
I
to
beat,
state actually.
I'm getting the money, I'm getting some profit. Would you like to finish the game? Because once we finish the game, we are out of that problem. It means if I'm getting a positive reward, I'll be in the game, I'll never finish the game. You take the action which takes you away from the goal. Isn't it? I'll never try to finish the game. Because if you are giving me benefit to be in the game, I would like to be in the game. I'll not finish the game. Okay? If you see the three states over there which have been marked with X, Y, and Z, we have taken just the opposite action which does not take me to the goal state. And for the other states, it's your wish, you can take any action, up, down, left, or right. It won't make any change. Okay? This case, you should be in the game. I hope now you have got the idea how reward is having an impact on the body. Now, moving ahead, let's talk about time horizon. Now, there are certain games, there is a time limit, or maybe the number of moves. So, after a fixed amount of time, after a fixed point of iteration, fixed number of moves, the game will finish. Does not matter what extra you perform, it won't happen. Then there is a concept of infinite horizon. Like there is no time bound. You can take as much amount of time you can take. So let's say with this kind of a concept of time horizon, your policy will again change. Say for example, what if your agent is there, and if I fix the time horizon to be 3, that means in 3 moves, your game will terminate. Now your policy would be different. Now what if I tell you you're having infinite amount of time, there is no such number of moves, then definitely your policy will change. Maybe you would be taking a longer path to avoid this minus part. I think we have discussed the time horizon concept. Let's move ahead. So we said the objective function would be the utility of the state sequence, where this utility is nothing but the sum of all the rewards that you receive on a given state. The issue is, what if the state sequence is infinite? So how to solve this problem? Well, if the state sequence is infinite, the value would be a very high or a very low value depending upon what reward you have associated. So we need to solve this problem of infinite state sequence. So the concept of discount has been involved, where the factor discount, which is gamma, which is mentioned over here, takes the value between 0 and 1. So it is giving me the idea that I should focus on the tuner reward that we are getting, and I should not worry about the later reward we'll be getting. The current reward should be given more weight. Here if you see the utility that we'll get, that can be easily bounded because its value will be always at most R max over 1 minus gamma, where R max will be maximum reward for any given state. So we worry about sooner reward more, and so that this overall utility must be bounded. It will not go infinite, which is giving me the idea that I can work over an algorithm which will definitely convert. Now, since we are talking about a stochastic environment, there is a probability associated. If I'm on a given state, I'm taking a particular action, I'm reaching to another state, obviously there is a probability associated with it. So let's talk about the expected utility now. And the policy would be optimal if the expected utility is maximized. So utility given a policy phi for a given state S is nothing but summation of all state sequences which are there to reach from S to the goal, and in the state sequence you pick the state one at a time and find out what is the probability to be with that state for that given action. of this tree, you are on S, you are having two of the set of actions to select. You have selected an action A. If I select an action A, I'll reach to few of the set of states. I do not know which state I'll land to. Let's say we land to state S dash. So what is the expected utility for taking an action A while you are on state S? This is given by the expression. We started from state S, we have taken an action A. From A, I can land to any of the successor states S dash. I do not know which of them. I'll try for all of them. So this is the expected utility of taking an action A on a given state. Fine. How should I choose the optimal action? Means I'm not talking about the policy. Obviously, that action A should be selected, which will maximize its expected utility. So what is the optimal policy for this given state S? I'll try the same equation for all the actions. For different A, I'll try the one A for which this is maximum. I'll pick this. So which will be the desired action for our problem. So if you see, we can think of recursively writing down an expression for the utility of A in terms of its successor state. Because utility as per the discount is given by this expression. When is the policy maximum? When we have maximized the expected utility. How recursively U can be written? U can be written as the reward for that given state plus whatever successive utilities you will be getting for the all successive states thereon. So this is the Bellman equation, which will be used to decide the policy for that particular problem. Let's see how. Now, assume that you are on state 1, 1. You are presently on this state, where X has been marked. So in this case, the reward of every state S is given to be minus 0.04 for every non-terminal state. For the terminal state, they are plus 1 and minus. So let's see as per the Bellman equation what is happening. Now, if you are on the state X, what are the actions I can take? There are 4 set of actions you can think of taking. Either you can move up, or you can move down, or you can move left, or you can move. I need to try out of these 4 which is correct. Let's use Bellman equation. Bellman equation says utility of a given state is given by reward for that state. The reward is minus 0.04. So there will be a discount factor gamma which is between 0 and 1. You see that. And then maximum of, I don't know what action I should. So let's try all of them one at a time and see how things are changing. So the first action that you have selected is up. What if moving up was the desired action? I'm not sure whether up is the correct action or not. Let's assume moving up is the desired action. Okay. So we said moving up is the desired action. Then I can think of, as per the stochastic environment given to us, 2 more actions which are left to the desired and right. The moving opposite is 0. Okay. So if I am moving in the up direction only, the probability associated is 0.8. Fine. If I move up, I land to the state Y. What is the state? The state is 1, 2. So utility of 1, okay. Plus, because it is expected utility, I could have landed to maybe on the right side. Let's pick the right action. In the right action, I'll move to this Z state, which is 2, 1. Utility of the state 2, 1. But the action which would be taken is right to the desired. So what is the probability? 0.1. The other action you can think of taking is moving left. So as per the desired direction, you are moving left to the desired. Probability is 0.1. In this case, you will bump to this wall and be back in the same state, the utility is 1, 1. Okay. So this is for the up movement. So I'll get some numeric value over here, 1 value. I'm not sure whether moving up was the correct answer or not. I have to try for the other actions also. So let's say you want to move left. Let's assume now left is your desired action. Similarly, you need to decide as per the stochastic environment what are the other two actions. So standing on this point, looking along this arrow, visualize what are your left and right. I think if you visualize, this direction will be your left and this direction will be your right. Isn't it? Stand on this point, look in this direction, visualize left and right. Now, if I take this action which is left, or if I take the down action, in both the cases I'll bump with the wall and I'll be back in the same state. So in the first action, which was this left action, which was the desired action, probability is 0.8. In this case, probability is 0.1, total is 0.9 because I'm bumping and getting in the same block. So it is 0.9 times the utility of state. Okay. Then the other action would be moving up. So this is not the desired action. It is actually right to be desired. So probability is 0.1. Which state I land to? I land to state Y, which is cell number 1, 2. The utility of that. In the same way, you try for down and right, and you get 4 set of values. To find out which of them is maximum, that will be selected to decide. And whatever action you have selected, that will be marked as per the policy in this particular way. Okay. I hope the idea is getting clear now. How Bellman equation would be helpful in solving this problem. Now, moving ahead. Now we need to solve these Bellman equations. So in total, we are having n possible states as per the environment. So for every state, there is n Bellman equations in total. Okay. So in the Bellman equation, there is only one unknown, which is utility of the state. N equations, n unknowns, we need to solve. Can we solve through linear programming? Definitely not, because the equation is non-linear, as we are having an argmax function. There is an argmax function which is not allowing it to be linear, so it is a non-linear approach. So to solve it, we need to iteratively apply a few of the algorithms. There are two basic algorithms: value iteration, policy iteration. So if the time permits, we'll go for policy iteration. Otherwise, let's focus on value iteration only. So what is this value iteration method? You need to build an optimal policy. How to build it? You need to calculate the utility of every state by selecting the optimal action as per the Bellman equation. Let's see what is happening. Assume that initially the utility for every state is 0 because we have not started with any action. We need to keep on iterating it until convergence is achieved. So what could be convergence? Convergence could be maybe the result in 2 consecutive iterations are not changing, the result in terms of utility. Or maybe the arrows are not changing. Okay. Or maybe you can fix the number of iterations. Let's say after 100 iterations, I'll turn. Okay. So if I'm talking about the ith iteration, the same Bellman equation can be written in the form of the iteration version. Like utility of a state S in I plus 1th iteration is given by reward of the state in ith iteration, because this will be fixed, not change, plus discount factor of whatever be the suitable action you are taking. This is expected utility for all the successive states in the ith iteration. So this formula would be utilized to solve that question, where you have seen the arrows which were marked as the policy. Let's see. So in this case, I think we have discussed what would be the way of conversion. So this is just the algorithmic view of the value iteration method. So we have seen this as the environment where you are having a start state. For timing, in this case, we could assume 1, 1 could be the start state. For any state could be start state. The start state doesn't matter over here because we need to check for every state. If I'm on that state, what should be the correct sequence of action to reach the goal state? So if we use this Bellman equation through this value iteration algorithm, this is the result we'll be getting when the discount factor is considered to be 1 and reward for every non-terminal state is minus 0.1. So these are the set of utilities we will be gaining. And while you have decided the utilities, these were the correct actions at that point. So we get this point. Like when you were on the state 3,1, the value 0.611 which you got was for moving in the left side. You would have tried for all left, right, up, down. For up, the value would have been little lower. That's why you have selected the left. And we know how by changing the value of R, these policies will change. So let's try this example out so that we get to know that it is working. Now assume that gamma be 0.5, reward for every non-terminal state is minus 0.04. Utility of all these states initially is 0. This is the Bellman equation, iterative version of it. Let's see what will be the utility of the state x, fully x, in 2 iterations. Anyone who can tell me what would be the value? Just give it a try. Because you see, utility of 1 we are talking about. I think in the first iteration only. It says reward, this is minus 0.04 plus gamma is 0.5 times. I want to select the maximum value. So let's say maximum of. Now, if you are on x, I should try for all the directions: up, down, left, and right. So, looking at the environment, what do you feel would be the optimal action as per the policy? What out of these 4 actions should I select? I have to try for all of them. But what do you think would be the correct answer? Let me directly go for that. What do you feel? Anyone?
So going in a right direction.
Because going in the right direction in one go, I'm reaching to the plus 1. Definitely, this is the correct answer. So I should try directly for this action. You need to try for the other 3 also, but we know for this only this will be maximum. So let's see what will happen. Now, as per the environment, it is stochastic. I need to look for 2 more directions. Standing at this point, looking in the direction of this arrow, let's find out its left and right. So left is moving up, right is moving down. Okay. So let's find out the expected utility. So what is the expected utility? If I am moving in the correct direction, that means this right side, so it is 0.8 times. Utility of the state I'll be in. I'll be in the state 4,3. So what is the utility? It is already plus 1. So plus 1. Then plus. I need to try for the other directions also. Let's say if I move left to the desired, moving left to the desired is probability 0.1 into. I'll bump with the wall. I'll be in the state where x is marked. Okay. So what is the utility of x? Since x is a non-terminal state, for a non-terminal state, the initial value of utilities are 0. Similarly, plus, if I move down, it is right to the desired 0.1 times. I'll land to the state where y has been written. Since again this is a non-terminal state, utility is 0. You solve this thing, you will get the solution 0.36. the first iteration for this x state, you will get the value as 0.3. Okay. I hope the idea is clear now. And for this iteration, in the policy, you will mark for the first iteration, policy of the state x is what? The right hand. Similarly, you will try for all the states which you see over here. Then now the utilities for the state have got changed. Now they are not 0. They will be having some value. Again, in the next iteration, let's say if I tell you what will happen in the next iteration. So this value is 0.36. What about the remaining values? I think in the remaining values, because the utility is 0 in this case, what is the correct direction? I should not go towards -1 or any other direction which takes me towards -1. So it will be better if I take the opposite direction. Because with the opposite direction, the two directions are these two and their utilities are 0. So this factor which you see over here, I have to make it 0 because nothing has been mentioned over here except for these two nodes. So I think only reward will be there. So it will be minus 0.04 every year as a utility. And then you need to try for the second iteration. If you try for the second iteration, do the first iteration, this was the utility. Now in the second iteration, you see over here, again we know what is the correct action I should take on the state x, moving right. I've not tried all the actions, but if you try, you get the solution as moving right is the correct action. Okay. Then we could have moved either to the left of desired or right of desired. You can see the values accordingly. So this is the reward for being in the state x. The count time. Let's say we move towards right side. So if we move towards right side, the probability would be 0.8. Fine. What is the utility we are getting? +1. If we move up, moving up is probability 0.1. You will bump with the wall, and once you bump with the wall, you will be back in the state x. So the utility is 0.36. Similarly, the other state is moving down. The probability is 0.1 and its utility is 0.04. We get the solution 0.37. So if you see over here, with the iteration, the result is improving. It will never happen that the result is degrading. It will only happen when you have not selected the reward appropriately. You think we are working in the correct way. So you need to apply this several times until convergence is achieved. Again here, what would be convergence? Maybe the utility into consecutive iterations are not changing, or you could have used the concept of iteration, like in 100 iterations or after n number of iterations. So this is all about value iteration. Ma'am, may I know how much time is remaining?
Sir, the session is up to 1:15, sir.
1:15. So I'm having time, so I can go ahead with the policy also. Policy iteration method. Okay. So next method is the policy iteration method. Here, what is to be done is, it says, what if you know some policy beforehand? Let's start with some vague policy, some random policy. If you do not have any policy, randomly select some arrow. Maybe for state 1,1, moving up is the correct arrow. Maybe. I'm not sure. For state 2,1, moving down could be the correct action. So we'll randomly select some policy and try it out. So how would this work? Now, what is the benefit it is offering us? When we check the Bellman equation, there was a concept of argmax function, which was making the equation non-linear. If I would remove that max or argmax, then equation was linear. So how would I remove it? So why we have placed that argmax function? because we are not sure that on a given state what is the correct action I should take. But if we already know some policy beforehand, then what does policy contain? On a given state, what is the action I should take? That means it removes the concept of max or Rmax. So it makes the equation now linear, and we can be easily solved two n unknowns in order of discrete time. So I can simply use the linear programming method to solve those equations. Now, so if we know some policy beforehand, obviously the policy may not be correct. I would have to update those policies. So how would that updation take place? Now, in the policy iteration method, we will pick some policy, we'll calculate the utility of every state based upon that policy. If required, we'll update the policy depending upon what would be the successor state. And again, iteratively repeats again and again until the conversion has been achieved. So start with some random policy. Let's say the initial policy is phi naught. So for every state, I know what is the action I should take. Okay. The action may or may not be correct. This is important. First, you evaluate the policy. Evaluating the policy means if I know the action for every state, you find out the utility for all the states given that policy. We solve it through Bellman equation. Then look for the improvement policy in the next iteration. How would I look for the improvement policy? You have been given an action, let's say moving up for a given state. How would I improve? If moving left, right, or down is better than up, then an improvement is required. To check for the remaining three actions. If the value is better, you go. So, if you see earlier, this was the way of representing the policy in the I plus 1th iteration. It says, I do not know what is the correct action. I'll try all the actions. I'll find out the expected utility for the ith iteration policy. I'll get my solution. Now, if we already know phi I, that means I know this action. What is this action A? This action A is nothing but phi I of S. Because what was phi? Phi was a policy which was mapping a state with an action. So if I replace this A with this phi I of S, I think we have eliminated the concept of this Rmax. I do not need to work upon which was the better action, because I already know what is the correct action as per the previous iteration policy. So given a fixed policy, you can calculate utility for that particular state as per the Bellman equation. This was the utility. Now that A will be replaced as per the policy, because our policy is fixed. If you see, we have replaced this A by what does the policy say for that state. Now you see, Rmax function has been removed, and this is a Bellman equation for the state S, where U being the parameter, and accordingly for n states we'll be having n such equations. I can easily solve to linear program. So this is the benefit which it offers. So definitely you can have a linear system to get all the utilities. You modify the Bellman equation. In this case, the above Bellman equation has been modified in this way. This A has been replaced by this phi I of S, and this Rmax function has been removed. So after the time complexity, it works better. Quickly, it works quickly. So this is the algorithmic view of the policy iteration method. Here in this case, you'll be having some initial utility. You can mark it to be 0. Then for every state, you check whether there is a requirement to change the policy or not. What do you mean by the requirement to change the policy? Let's say for a given state, maybe for a given state 1, 1, the policy in this iteration was moving in the left direction. Presently, this was the policy. Now, how would I check for the update? I'll check for up arrow, I'll check for down arrow, I'll check for the left arrow. If there's an improvement, it has to be with respect to these 3 directions. I'll try. What if I have taken this action? I'll replace in the Bellman equation. I'll check whether the utility for this action is better or not. If it is so, I'll replace. So with this, we are improving the policy as well. If there are no improvement, the things will be unchanged. And you need to decide when to stop as per the terminating. So it is an efficient approach in comparison to the value iteration method, as it is giving you the solution in order of input time. And you should not bother about what is the correct set of actions prior hand, because randomly you will select some policy and you will try to improve that policy. So in today's lecture, we talked about reinforcement learning, where we have modeled the reinforcement learning in terms of a Markov decision process. The Markov decision process, discount reward. The solution to that policy was the solution to that Markov decision process was a policy. This was nothing but correct action in response to a. So, all from my side, thank you.